Hey guys, this video is walking you guys through your second essay assignment. Now that you guys have turned in your first one, you've created this argument, your second essay is pretty simple. You're going to create an essay that expands on that first essay's argument with credible research to support your claims. Now, it's very, very important, two things. One, you have to keep the same topic and the same stance as the first essay. So you can't change the topic, you can't change the stance. Secondarily, when you do this, it is expected that you have a substantially enhanced and revised essay. So what I don't want to see is you copying and pasting your first essay and then just adding 2 pages of source material. It's instead expected that you go through and you revise your first essay and then enhance it by adding these different source materials, and that's really going to help elevate, expand, and better support your essay. Your argument, I should say. So for the essay, you have to have at least 3 credible sources of your choosing. One of those has to be an in-person interview. Now, when I say in-person, obviously it doesn't mean you have to be face-to-face. You can do it via email, call, that's totally a Zoom call, that's totally fine. But point is, you do need to have one subject matter expert relative to whatever you're talking about. Now, that may be a business person, that may be a doctor, it may be a lawyer, maybe a police person, it may be a professor. There are a lot of different people you could go to for this. What you don't want to do is go to someone who is just marginally related to the topic. So if you're arguing for the legalization of marijuana, what you don't want to do is just go to your friend and get their opinion on it. That's not a credible source. That's not going to be helpful in this case. So your essay has to be 4 to 5 pages in length and is due on Sunday, November 14th by 11:59 p.m. Like I said, it's expected that you keep the same topic and stance as the first essay, and you're expanding on it with these additional sources. So Mla formatting is required, all assignments are checked for plagiarism, and the minimum page length must be met. Basically, the same parts of an essay are required as the first essay: a good concrete thesis, 3 main ideas with reasons and evidence to support. In this case, your evidence will come from your source material, and it's really important that you leverage the source material fully. So you should have it integrated throughout your argument, and you should use direct quotes from that source material to help support your own ideas. So for example, if you're going to argue that we should fund electric vehicle production for government vehicles to all be electric by 2025, then you would want to, say, have a professor or someone who works in the industry or a source that talks about electric vehicle production. You'd want to integrate quotes from those sources that explains, why that's important or what it could do for the environment, or specific stats or specific information. So what you incorporate from your source material can be qualitative or it can be quantitative. So it can be qualitative in the sense that it's something that is a quote that helps support the ideas, or it can be quantitative in that you're integrating specific stats, numbers, figures, or facts to help support your ideas. You could also bring in a source material to show the other side, to show the opposing viewpoints, which again, you need to have opposing viewpoints with refutation. You could bring it in that way as well and then refute it or disprove it. That's fine too. So just make sure that you're fully leveraging and utilizing your sources, and I'm going to say it again. Quotes are the best form of evidence that you can have. They're much more concrete than paraphrasing from a source. So try to integrate specific quotes from your source material and make sure you're citing that both in the text and on the bibliography. So make sure that you have, of course, the appropriate number of sources and a conclusion as well. So there's 2 parts to this one. Just as in your first essay, part of your essay grade was your outline. So it was basically a way to kind of give you some if you do it correctly, some free points towards your essay grade to kind of help boost your grade. You're going to do something called an annotated bibliography as an assignment, and that will be part of your essay grade. You can kind of read the information a little bit there, and then your final essay, you'll submit that as a clean draft. Now, I say this is important. An annotated bibliography, as you'll see when you get to that assignment, basically asks you to look at a source and do 3 things. summarize it, evaluate how strong of a source it is, and then reflect on how you might use it in the paper. So that is what an annotated bibliography is. You can see each citation is going to have about a paragraph's worth of information. When you go to, that's going to be turned in as a separate assignment. When you go to submit your essay, you don't need to submit the annotated bib. What you need to submit with it is a regular bibliography with your essay. So I'll remind you of this on the actual essay submission link, but basically that just means you're just going to need the citation, not the whole annotation, which is this whole paragraph below it. So you'll just do the usual MLA-like citation for your source material. So you should have at least 3 of those on there, one of which needs to be that in-person interview. So I've given you, like I said, you're going to get to this assignment later, and there's a full walkthrough of how to do it and what an annotated bib is. But if you need a reference point, I've given you a guide with an example here. I've also given you an optional self-edit guide here, so you can double check yourself. And then I've given you just a couple things here about interview styles. So you can do kind of this note card style or this written or oral interview. That information is there for you if you need it and if it's helpful. So just to recap, your essay number 2 is going to expand on your first essay with credible research. Keep the same topic and stance. 3 sources required. 3 credible sources required, I should say. One of these needs to be an in-person interview with someone who's a subject matter expert relative to that field. 4 to 5 pages in length. Of course, you need to do the minimum page length, but you can always write more. And then Sunday, November 14th by 11:59 p.m. is the deadline. So again, let me know if you have any questions on this at all, but otherwise go ahead and move on to your next assignment.